How are you enjoying the game so far?
You know what? It's been a good game. I can't lie. The battle between two wild card teams. You could tell how much they want it. Maybe one more than the other, but I mean the scoreline at the end of the day is what matters. And I mean the shots are one thing, but am I surprised at the result? Not too much. Um, it's gonna make for a good third period, entertaining. That's always something, I guess. But I was hoping that I could start my Saturday morning with a comfortable win, but I guess that's not what we're gonna get. We're gonna get one be down to the wire, so it'd be interesting.
How are you feeling about JT Miller's game against the Canucks so far tonight?
You know what? He's been surprisingly quiet. I mean, he's set up a couple of chances off the rush for the Rangers, which I've seen. He's given Pedersen a couple of whacks as expected. I don't know if that's just him being into the game or targeted. One thing I've noticed is every time that Pedersen and Miller have gone for a face-off, it seems like one of them always gets taken off the draw or waved out, right? So that's interesting. You saw Pedersen go off there. But Miller, he's looked a little bit quiet. I mean, everyone on the Rangers has been quiet. So it's a bit unfortunate that we're tied in this one. But I'm sure he'll have a strong third. He's going to be going hard. He said it's going to be an all-out war yesterday, but I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, we heard the rumor that he was taking some of his the Canucks out for dinner last night. So we were wondering if maybe he took him to the shadiest restaurant in New York to maybe try and get some food poisoning out there. But I guess if he's going to dinner with them, it's probably the teammates that he liked, so he wouldn't pull that kind of a thing.
Yeah, I'd love to know who was a part of that group, but I maybe at first glance you could probably guess, but just to know who was actually in that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, the I saw a Rangers reporter on Donnie and Dolly yesterday, but he
Yeah.
said that they didn't actually ask JT Miller that question because I think once the questions about the drama started coming on, JT's like, I knew this was coming, but I'm not really excited about answering these questions again.
Yeah, he would definitely shut that down. He seems to be all business in his interviews, right? But even then, I think it would have been an interesting question to pose on a panel there.
How are you feeling about Mr. Elias Pettersson's game so far? Playing his first game against JT, I think he's looked pretty solid so far.
It hasn't looked bad, man. I mean, he set up Brock Besser there on that 2-on-1. I think that was the right play to spring him there on a little bit of a saucer. It was a little bit higher than I'm sure he would have liked or Besser would have liked, but that was nice. I think that he's been looking poised with the puck. I was worried going into it that he would just crumble from the pressure and knowing that JT's on the ice, maybe get rid of the puck too soon. But what I've liked from the Canucks is they've been holding on to the puck. Taking that extra second to make the right play and see what all their options are, not just immediately dumping it in or getting rid of it. And I think that Pedersen's shown that. He did go off with the injury in the second there, so hopefully he's all right. Didn't even go out there for the power play in the final minute, so that's a little bit concerning. And of course, it happens as soon as he starts to pick up some steam. But yeah, I think that Pedersen is trending in the right direction. I'm not worried about him. And I listened to your first intermission there with RevTrev, and I don't know if he was alluding to the fact that he wanted Pedersen gone or not. You can correct me if I'm wrong, or if he just thought it was a possibility that he'd get traded. You know, I'll play devil's advocate there. I don't think they're going to trade him because end of the day, what are you going to get? Phil Heedle's out. Pius Suter's your first line center right now. I think you got to keep him, right? So I think he'll be fine. I'm not worried at all.
I
Um,
I think he was
so,
kind of alluding to the fact that he thinks there's still a chance they might be looking to trade him.
okay,
I
okay,
don't think he necessarily, but I mean, Carolina's tried a couple times now to get PD, and they're kind of infatuated him, kind of similar to the way the Canucks were really infatuated with Mancini. So it
yeah.
might be one of those things where if Carolina keeps on knocking, we'll see. I guess it probably depends on whether or not the Canucks make the playoffs. If PD looks good for the rest
Mhm.
of the season, they make the playoffs, and he plays some games well. I don't think there's any chance the Canucks are going to be moving on from him.
No, no. I think that there's just too much upside there. 26 years old, and even after a pretty long slump, he's shown flashes of his old self. So I'm not concerned in the slightest for PD.
So Mancini comes back into the lineup, taking EPD out or DPD out. Looks like they're just kind of rotating those two guys, but makes sense. A lot of the time, you do want to see
Yeah,
former players play against their old teams. How are you feeling about Victorio's game so far tonight or today?
love that nickname. I think that he's been solid. He's been taking a couple chances off the rush. You see him moving in deep there, trying to make something happen. So I've loved Mancini, but I've equally loved DPD. So I think I would have been indifferent in regards to who they actually put in the lineup there. I think that if you're going for an actual like A lineup for the Canucks defensive core, I think that DPD just edges him out. But you know what? It's his former team. You got to give Mancini the start. He's definitely fired up to play this one, and he's been noticeable out there, right? And more noticeable than a couple of other defensemen. Even I think he's been better than Myers today. He's probably been better than Marcus Pettersson, even who's surprising in his own zone, given up a couple of chances, recovered, but maybe he tends to give the puck up a couple times in the defensive zone. So the defense has been all right, but can't complain for the most part.
I was going to ask you about Hronek too, because I think something I've been noticing a lot from him, and I don't know if you've been seeing the same thing. I feel like he's got a little bit of the yips going to the corners in his own zone when he seems like he's trying to brace himself
Yeah.
to take the hit before getting the puck. But a lot of the time, he's not even coming up with the puck after that. So are you kind of seeing the same thing? Is that something that might be in the back of his head since he's had a couple injuries going to the corner like that?
Yeah, you saw that one on, I think it was Will Cooley or Carrick or someone like that in our own zone there. And instead of ringing it around the boards there, just kind of took the hit, lost the puck, kind of prioritized himself over the play. And, we recovered in the end because the Rangers can't seem to do anything in the offensive zone. But against a stronger team, that could lead to a great scoring chance. So it's a little bit concerning to see that, but it's weird too because when Hughes was out of the lineup, he was possibly our best player, not even just best defenseman, our best player. I think he had over point per game. As soon as Hughes came back into the equation, he just kind of turtled back into his old self that we saw earlier on in the season, where he was a little bit pensive and, maybe second guessing himself a little bit. So I don't know what the psychology is there. Maybe he thinks he can take the foot off the pedal a little bit when Hughes is out there. Doesn't have to make as many plays, but you would like to see him carry his own line on the second pair. He's definitely has the capabilities to do that, but we haven't really seen it on full display when both Hughes and Hronek are on the ice there. So, he's been all right. Not ideal, but definitely hope to see a little bit more out of him defensively and offensively, especially when our captain is in the lineup.
Got a bit of a new look for the Canucks on their fourth line tonight. Obviously, Linus Karlsson getting taken in the lineup, Lecker going in, and then Garland getting promoted to the third line. But I felt like the fourth line actually held themselves in pretty good, obviously scoring that goal, Dakota Joshua driving the net. But the whole play started with Lecker back in the lineup, carrying the puck all the way in and really starting things off. Didn't get an assist or a point on the play. He'll get the plus, but he can get some of that credit. He's been looking pretty good so far tonight too, hasn't he?
Oh, totally. Yeah, he's definitely coming into his zone there. Still, I think he needs to put on a couple of pounds to be able to protect the puck a little bit better. You saw that he could have had a breakaway. I know he was at the end of his shift
Mm-hmm.
on that one where he won the puck on the blue line there, but got caught up to it. But I think it was Will Borgen. Just kind of muscled off the puck, if anything, right? So if this guy puts on 10, 15 pounds, I think that the league is in for something special here because we've seen him make some really high IQ plays on the puck there. Just holding, as I said, holding onto the puck for that extra second, set up Joshua there in the first period before his goal. And on the power play, he looks really confident out there. He's throwing the puck around. One of the only guys that's actually doing something creative. I think that we're really standstill on the power play, or from what I've seen early on. So, it's good to see a little bit of a shakeup there, and I think that he could be a permanent guy down the stretch if he is in the lineup. Of course, I'm sure he'll be one of those guys that's bouncing in and out, just to give other guys a shot. But no, I've loved Lekkerimäki. Just don't want to see him buried on that fourth line. I think that he deserves maybe a top six opportunity just to showcase his skill against some of the other top lines in the NHL. I think that would suit him better as opposed to playing against like a physical opponent, which he doesn't really do too well in. So I would like to see that. But yeah, when he's out there, he's looked pretty good and definitely improving as a 20-year-old.
It's got to feel good for Dakota Joshua to get that one in too, because I feel like his game kind of like got a little better for a bit there. And then I think we saw him go down a little bit more there, but it seems like it's kind of back up on the upswing. So that's probably got to be good for his confidence moving forward after scoring that rebound goal.
Yeah, totally. I think that Dakota Josh is one of those guys that you can't really harp on too much. Obviously, had cancer and stuff, which is tough, and not being able to participate in training camp, that's big, right? I think that a lot of people underrate the significance of that going into a season. I think a couple of years back, Pettersson missed training camp, got off to a really slow start. Even Miller this year didn't
Mhm.
have as good of a start as last year, missed training camp. So it's definitely a big part of the season going into it, and you kind of just lose a stride. So I think that he's making it up, and I think that that line with him, Lekkerimäki, and Nils Zaman has been probably our most noticeable. I mean, you've had Quinn Hughes out there. Just by chance, which has really helped it out, obviously. But no, those guys have been grinding on the boards there. A lot of good forecheck, and they've produced a goal, so can't complain from our man Big Dak there.
We got a question in chat from Jake Stakes Hockey. Jake Stakes also runs a
Yeah,
YouTube channel
I know.
on the
Yep, I
Canucks.
know him. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I've
love
seen
his
him around.
videos. The chaos that is Jake Stakes Hockey. I did want to
Yeah,
ask you because I know the other day Jake did have some issues with copyright issues with his video, so he had to go in and chop things up, make things short and stuff. And I know we had a kind of a blow up earlier this season with the NHL coming in and just laying down the ban hammer on everybody. Have you been noticing lately that you're still seeing some of those copyright strikes, or how has the field been since that all came out earlier this year? Are you having any troubles with your videos going up?
yeah. It's been a process for sure to have to take care of, and I've definitely been monitoring it as every video of mine has come out. Even now, I haven't really been dealing with that many copyright issues. Maybe one or two since the Four Nations break. I think there's been like 14, 15 games since then. Maybe a couple less than that, but yeah, only one since the Four Nations break. Before that, it was just a bloodbath. Everything was red on my channel, right? So it was a little bit brutal, but no, I think that the key there was I was shortening my clips a lot more, trying to be a bit more creative with how I place them. And, one thing that I've noticed has helped me to any content creator that wants to make videos, um, try not to just put highlights of the game just like back to back to back. Put like an interview of some random game in, put something else, put like a graphic of a stat or the Canucks lineup beforehand just to trick the algorithm a little bit. I don't know if they're watching right now, but
They're
yeah,
always
it's
watching.
yeah, they're watching the Nothing is Perfect podcast right
Yeah.
now. Yeah, no, it definitely helps out confusing the algorithm, just not having the entire game, just playing consecutively. Just switch up the clip ordering and put some random stuff in there, some stats, and you'll definitely be good to go. That's what I've noticed. So, um, it's not 100% patched. There's still some cliques to it, and not 100% of a guarantee. So I always have to be a little bit weary about that. But for the most part, I haven't really it's that big of an issue down the stretch here.
Yeah, when we got Big Hog Hockey, who's another viewer and has his own channel that he's
Yeah.
just started up to, and that my advice to him was like, you can get probably like 7 seconds of a video highlight in a row, and that's probably like a good amount. If you do anything more than that,
Yeah.
it ends up because I remember I had a video up from the preseason when I actually had the Canucks game live onto YouTube because it was
Oh,
on the
that's
Canucks website. And it was
okay.
I think it was the Daniel Sprong goal, like early in the preseason, that beauty he scored. And for the longest time, the video was fine and fine. And then the NHL put out a video that was best plays from the preseason. And then all of a sudden, then that's when they got the copyright strike on there. So we had to take it down. But other than
Yeah.
that, like for the most part, it's been pretty good.
And, even flirting around that 7-second mark is a little bit sketchy for me. I kind of like to shorten it down to about 6.5.
Yeah.
I like seeing 6 on there when I'm editing my video, right? That's just something I've noticed. But yeah, so I definitely do it under 7 seconds, preferably around then. And yeah, that Daniel Sprong goal, that was nice. I don't think that they showed any other highlight from a preseason game, so I
No.
think you got a little bit unlucky there. So
Jake
bit
Six
brutal,
Hockey
but
says,
you got to
thanks
deal
for the
with it.
advice, bro. I haven't had many problems lately until my last video was so mad.
Of course, man. Yeah, no, just try to confuse it the best you can. That's the best advice I can give you.
So the Canucks are in the stretch drive here, obviously in a dogfight right now against the Rangers. What are you thinking? Do we have what it takes even without Hedel in the lineup, or are things going to be a very tough road for this Canucks team to make the playoffs?
You know, as far as this game goes, we definitely have enough. I mean, look at the shot count. You should see a clear favorite there. But down the stretch, we have a hard schedule. I think we have the third hardest schedule um, among remaining teams in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to consider. And the Blues are a team that we're in a direct battle with. There have the third or the first easiest actually in the league. So that doesn't help. But you know me, I'm always gonna back the team. I think that they're always gonna have a fighting chance. So. Um, it doesn't matter if they're 5 points, 10 points back of a spot. They're 1 point back with a game in hand here. So I'm obviously going to have some level of belief in them. Not to take away from any of the other teams. They've looked really good as well. But, it's like a 35 or something percent chance right now. I'll take that over a 10% chance. I'll take that over any of the other teams that are below us, right? So, um, you know, as long as they have a shot, I think that they'll convince me that they can at least put up an effort to get into the playoffs. But we'll see. At the end of the day, I have no idea, so I can't really comment on if I think they're going to do it or not. I'm willing to ride it out. At least we have exciting games down the stretch, so I guess there's a little bit of a silver lining there. But it won't be easy. But at the end of the day, what can you really do?
Just sit there and watch the chaos unfold in front of us.
Exactly, man. Exactly, right. So I'd rather that than watching lottery games right now, just for the tankathon odds, right? So
Truth.
I guess there's that.
Yeah, awesome. Diener, thank you very much for joining the show today. I know everyone was really excited to have you on. So enjoy the third period, and we'll talk again soon.
Wow, that went by quick. Yeah, no, thank you guys so much for having me. Hopefully we can have a victory. I'll see you guys around.
Nothing is perfect.